In June, one Saturday morning, my husband got a call. His father had surprisingly died of a heart attack in the hospital. We went to his hometown and stayed for 1 week until the funeral. I was crying a lot, but I got it together eventually. I turned out to be a huge support for his mother. After listening to all the wisdom about life and death and spirituality, I had all the right words to comfort her. The funeral was very sad, but in the evening the whole family gathered and told stories about my father-in-law, and there was a big celebration of the old man. It was so hard to see all the sadness, but it was beautiful at the same time, seeing the whole family coming together and forgetting about their conflicts. The old man would have liked that. I tried to be there for my husband as well, but he didn't let me in. He wanted to go through it on his own, and it was okay. My heart also reached out to Andy, who had lost his father the year before. Some weeks later, my husband said that this year has been terrible so far. He said, "You have always been the one constant in my life. No matter how crazy life got, you were always there for me. You always calmed me down and always gave me a new perspective on things. I always felt safe with you. And then I almost lost you, and now I lost my father and my mother's dying. I just want to come back to you, but I don't know if you're still here. I just feel so lost." I put my arms around him. I didn't have an answer. I loved him and I would always be there for him, but I also knew that my love for Andy was there too. I had no intentions of getting back with Andy, but I was well aware that he was still walking around in my head. I had asked my husband before if I could see the messages he had sent with the wife. He wouldn't let me see them. One day he fell asleep on the sofa and his mobile was still unlocked. I took it and went through the messages between him and the wife. And I saw that she had written to my husband that I had admitted to her on the phone that I and Andy did it. And that Andy then got angry and said it wasn't true. That never happened. I would never admit to something I hadn't done, and especially not in this case. I was so mad, because that would not only hurt me, but my husband even more. And I started wondering what other lies she had told my husband and Andy about me. It's no wonder that Andy seemed to hate me if he really believed I would tell lies to get them apart. There were many screenshots of the messages I had sent with Andy. I also found the message where I wrote, "I can't say anything, he trusts me," which my husband took up, and that has hurt him the most. And I remember the context. This was not about my husband. That was about one of my workers. I had asked him how Andy was as a supervisor. And I would tease Andy that I couldn't tell him his answer because my employee trusted me. But that context didn't come across, with her just sending one part of this conversation. There were many messages out of context, and it were mostly my messages, and his answers were missing. And by reading those messages, I felt drawn back to the madness. In one message, my husband asked if Andy was also struggling to get over me. And she replied, "No, he said he never had any feelings for her. He doesn't care about her. He says there is nothing to get over." That hurt. I also found out that the wife had sent a picture of Andy to my husband after he had deleted all the pictures I had. And I thought all the time that Andy had sent the picture because he still cared. But he didn't even know about that. It was a picture from their honeymoon. There were also some more white lies from my husband, but nothing worth mentioning. I was angry at her, and I was angry at Andy. I suddenly had a big part of our messages right in front of me. It all happened just as I remembered. This was all real. It was not just in my head as he had claimed. I remembered what a great time we had, how much we loved together. And then there were the messages from her saying he never cared about me. He was in it just as much as I was, and now he's just giving a damn. He chose her, and I let him go without drama or anything. I even protected him and his lies and kept my mouth shut. And he's angry and mean to me and talks shit about me. But I stuck to my meditations, and I would get over this pretty fast. But the seed was planted in my head. She is lying to make me look worse than I was. And the questions were growing. Does anything I lied about us having sex to sabotage him? What happened from the last phone call at work when he was still nice and warning me to the phone call a few hours later where he would be yelling at me and from where he had been only hurtful to me? I let it go as good as I could because life other than this was great. Work was great. I really had found my place now and everyone was enjoying my new energy. I felt so much more grounded. Things with my husband were great. He had got his private salsa dancing lessons and I really loved dancing. It meant so much to me that I could share this with him. I would still have one view on my art page once a week, but for all I knew, it could have been her checking my activity on social media. My birthday came, and I got the notification that someone on my art page started typing a message, but didn't send it. I was wondering if it was him, because we were once talking about congratulating each other on our birthdays. I never thought we would end up this way when we were talking about our birthdays. I could have never imagined that the nicest person in the world would end up hating me. I would have never imagined all the pain that we caused for each other and for everyone around us. Anyway, I had no way of knowing if it was actually him. Time went by, things were really good, and August came, and his birthday came. I once promised him I would reach out again on his birthday. I was meditating, and I was saying to myself, today I just wish him a happy birthday from my heart, and just hope for him that he has a great day, that he is happy, and that he and his family are okay. I let go of all the hurt, all the questions, all the feelings of missing him. Everything is good, just the way it is. And something happened under this meditation. I felt like a healing was occurring. I was so at peace around the whole situation. All the hurt and confusion was gone. All there was love. But not in the way that I want to be with him or anything. It was pure love and peace, that everything is good, just the way it is. And I thanked him in my heart for all the love he gave me once, and wished him all the best. I was for the first time at total peace. And the very next morning, a Tuesday, I saw Andy's company car when I was driving a new employee to a construction place. But this time, and for the first time, he was sitting in the car. I parked right behind him and delivered my employee to the client. I didn't know what to do. It was one day after his birthday. Should I congratulate him? Should I say hi? Was there any of his colleagues who were watching him as she claimed? But he never got out of the car. He just drove away. I had made peace with him in my heart. And the very next day I would see him after 8 months, where he had seemed to have disappeared. And I wasn't breaking down. I was feeling good. I was at a really good place. Seeing him didn't throw me off balance. I was very happy about that. It showed that I had come a long way. I had forgiven him, and I was at peace. On Wednesday, the same week, I had a day off and was at the training center on the treadmill. And through the window, I saw Andy driving by. That had never happened before. On Friday, the same week, my employee asked if I could bring some timesheets, and there were some tools he needed. So I went there with the stuff around lunchtime. His supervisor came from the same country as I did, and he had a lot to tell. Andy was walking around on a construction place as well, cutting some wood, but he didn't even look at me. But he looked so sad. Andy had the keys for the lunchroom, and had to come over to us to give the keys. He was wearing his ear protection all the time, so he wouldn't hear if I said something. He gave the keys to my client and drove away in his car. It was so strange. I just wanted to say, "It's me, what's wrong?" I had still the memories in my head from the last time I saw him in January, and he told me how much he missed me, and he had this big smile on his face. I only knew him smiling, but now he looked so sad. But for any reason, I felt great. He didn't have such an impact on me anymore. Later that same day, I had 4 new views on my art page, and then I knew it was him. She didn't know we saw each other that day. It wasn't her. It probably was him all along. I remembered his wife telling me in March that she will wait until the summer and then leave him. I checked her Facebook profile, and she had changed her name to Duncan Wife, and had changed her profile picture. You know, she had the same profile picture for 3 years, and then she changed it the day she found out of the affair, changed it after our telephone call, changed it after she came to visit me at work. So something had happened. And the featured picture of those 2 kissing was gone as well. She wasn't portraying themselves as together anymore. Did they break up? I went on his profile and realized that I wasn't blocked anymore. Oh no, it looked like they didn't make it. I was so sorry. That was my biggest worry, that he would lose his family because of me. I just wanted him to be happy, and I saw how sad he was. I was worried about him. I remembered that once we told each other that no matter how things would end, we would always be there for each other. I wanted him to know that we are okay. If they were really separated, he would probably be devastated, and at least he wouldn't have to worry about me. I wasn't holding a grudge anymore. I was doing really good. I talked with Magdalena about it, that I found it so strange that he couldn't even say hi. We had a great connection all the way to the end. We have never been fighting or arguing or anything. Our spouses just decided we shouldn't have any contact. That sounds so weird. Maybe he was afraid I might make a scene on the construction place. She agreed. She said she would just talk to him, if she was me, and ask if there's any problem because you have no problem with him, and if he maybe can act professionally. I saw him 3 times in 1 week, while I hadn't seen him for 8 months. It felt like a sign to me. I wanted to clear the air so that all the unsaid could be said, and we could move on in peace. I wanted him to know that I've never tried to sabotage his relationship in any way, and if lies had been told, that I wanted to clear them up. At the end of the week, my employee was finished at the project, and I came to pick up the tools, and I wanted to make peace and finally move on, and hopefully get him out of my head. But that day Andy wasn't there, so I didn't get my closure. And then his wife suddenly deleted her profile on Facebook. That weekend, my husband asked me, "You look so thoughtful. Is anything going on?" And I told him that I saw Andy and he was so strange, that I thought he and his wife are no longer together, and that I have this big desire to finally speak my truth. I had to keep my mouth shut all the time, and now I want to know what happened, if she told him any lies, and I have to tell my truth. I want to make peace so I can move on for good. I don't want to carry this with me for the next decade, like I had with my ex. And I said, "But if you don't want me to, I won't do anything. It's more important to me that we are okay." And he replied, "If you feel you have to clear the air, then you have to do that. You should write him a letter or something. But don't be disappointed if you don't get the answer you expect. You never know with these people." And I said, "I think he probably won't answer, but then at least I did my part to make peace, and I finally got to speak up." And my husband supported me. It's okay with me. And I just loved him even more. I was on a healing journey, and making peace with Andy was the last piece of the puzzle. And my wonderful husband supported me. After that conversation, I felt like maybe I don't need that conversation with Andy after all. Just talking about my thoughts helped a lot. But at night times the thoughts were coming back. What if Andy is hurting really bad? I knew he had a depression before. I promised I would be there for him. My spirit guide said that they are just waiting for him to come home. I was worried. I also talked with my mom about that, and that I'm wondering if I should send him a text, just to make sure he's okay. "Does your husband know?" was the first she asked, and I told her that he supported me. "You are asking too much of your husband. He's really great." And we talked about what to put in the message. She said I can only send one message because he might just shut me down right away. So I have to put all I have to say in the first message. And then she said, "And you write him that his wife, that bitch, had been lying to your husband and that you probably lied to him too." I was thinking all evening what I wanted him to know and wrote it down in my mobile phone. I also meditated on it, and my spirit guide was very clear that I must not write anything about his wife and that I should go for it. I had to send the message in the morning when he was at work. I didn't want to get him in more trouble with his wife in case they're still together. I wanted to let him know that I was so sorry for all the trouble I caused, that I would like to put things behind us peacefully, and that I've been told many strange things and I would like to clear them up. I didn't call his wife a lying bitch like my mom suggested. I asked if we could have one last conversation because I also have many questions. I would let him know everything he was wondering about and that he could read all messages that have been written, because then I could prove that I always wrote to his wife that we didn't do it and that I was trying to protect him. I had also the messages between my husband and his wife, so I could prove that I've never asked for the call and that she also lied to my husband. I wanted him to know that I've never tried to sabotage them. I wanted us to make peace and to move on with our lives. The next day, in the morning, I decided to send the message on Messenger. But I realized that I was blocked. I was not blocked on Facebook, but I was blocked on Messenger. But I had already prepared the message. I had already made my decision. So I used my test profile. I uploaded a picture of me so he would know it was me, and I sent the message. 8 months after our breakup, I reached out to him.